I was a young lawyer at the time. I get this call from my boss. He said, I need you to see Jeffrey Dahmer. It's my first job. I felt like Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs.
I'm here to learn from you. Maybe you can decide for yourself whether or not I'm qualified enough to do that.
I wondered why I was compelled to do the murders. What I was searching for would fill the emptiness that I felt.
Serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer becomes the subject of another Netflix project.
Not easy to talk about. It's something that I've kept buried within myself for many years.
In it, we hear the murderer himself through never-before-released recordings, but also from those close to the horrifying killing spree.
There are times that I felt like a mother to him. I felt like I was his therapist. But hearing the graphic detail was more than I could stand.
Including Wendy Patrickus, a young lawyer tasked with spending over 30 hours interviewing Dahmer about his crimes.
I knew I was sick or evil or both.
He was very polite. I was somewhat surprised, I guess, at how cordial Jeff was. Instilling in him that I'm not somebody sitting here judging him was of utmost importance.
Wendy recalls her experience sitting face-to-face with the killer, detailing how she convinced him to open up.
To get that trust made all the difference in the world. He called me Wendy, I called him Jeff. The next several months, I would spend considerable time with him, talking about each victim and gathering as much information as possible.
And here's Wendy in court with the killer back in 1992, sitting by his side during this heartbreaking moment.
Jeffrey, I hate you, mother! I hate you!
That's surely an unforgettable experience for the attorney, who says she's still haunted by what Jeffrey did 30 years later.
I don't think there's anything that can prepare anybody for that kind of carnage. It was terrifying to see that this was real. The Polaroids that Jeffrey took, I was horrified. I had nightmares with it. I was just thinking, you know, how am I gonna get through this? I don't have anybody to talk to about it.
Wendy isn't the only one holding on to the traumatizing events.
I knew Jeffrey Dahmer and several of his victims.
There's always going to be that pain. There's always going to be that remembrance of what happened.
Michael Ross and Jeff Connor, friends of Dahmer's victims, also shared their experience with the serial killer. They recount the gruesome murders of their friends, including Tony Sears, and explain why honoring their stories is important.
You're always going to do the what ifs, you know, where would they be now and what kind of life would they have had? You're always going to miss that person.
They had a life that they loved. I think it's important to tell their story. Nobody deserves to die like that.